Well, welcome to the 2025 Northwest Athletic Conference Women's Basketball Championship Tournament Final Four Preview Show. My name is Mike Tatko. We're going to have a visit with coaches and players from our Final Four participants this weekend. Let's start with the Peninsula Pirates. Well, we're here with the Peninsula Pirates, Coach Allison Rose and Shania Moananu. Thank you for joining us on our NWAC preview show. We'll start with you, Coach Rose. Wow, 3 Final Fours out of the last 4 seasons. You're always here, you're always competitive, you're always here at the end of the year. What is it about this Pirate program that makes it so special?
I think it's just culture. We try and really put that at the forefront of what we do in September. You know, this is where we want to be, this is what we want to shoot for. We recruit people that way. You gotta tell them, like, this is where we see you fitting in. And, you know, being there for so long, I think it's from the top down, we just kind of believe in the process, and it helps having been there before, I think, to just know what that looks like. And so, not that it gets easier, because every year is different, it has its different challenges, but I think it's just something where you can consistently say, hey, I believe that we get the players that can get there. And so it's my job to not really screw it up, and, you know, we have the players to do it. So, you know, this year I didn't screw it up.
Shania, wow, your first game last weekend, if someone would have walked in at halftime and looked at the scoreboard, they would have thought, this scoreboard's messed up. Your opponent had 5. And then, really, the first weekend, you only gave up 99 points in 2 games combined, an amazing percentage. Talk about how special your team defense has been, not just last weekend, but all season long.
Yeah, defense is one of our 3 priorities that we have as a team. It's defense, rebounding, and pace. And defense is what leads to the other 2 parts of our identity. And that's something that we value because it's what drives us to be good on offense. And we don't really focus on the points that are on the board. We kind of focus on what we're giving up to the other team. And that's kind of why the score looked like that last week. But that's not something that we look at and we're like, yeah, we did our job. We're trying to keep that pace for all 4 quarters, and that's when we feel like we have a complete game.
Coach, this matchup with Lane, heavyweight fight. I mean, 2 of the Titans, and not to be literal on their part, but 2 of the best teams in the NWAC for years. And again, a rematch of the Final Four, a heartbreaking loss in overtime. And remember, we all remember, especially you, as your standout player, Itua Tuiasolua, was injured right at the beginning of overtime, didn't play. The game didn't come out in your end. And speaking of her new team, the Stephen F. Austin Lumberjacks, just punched a ticket to the NCAA championships on the women's side. So you have to be very proud of her. First of all, comment about her and what she's meant to this program and then going on. And then comment about this deal that you're going to have with Lane on how to stop their high-powered offense.
Yeah, E2 is one of those players that's just, like, very unique in her personality on and off the court. So her leadership was something that was amazing to have for 2 years, and I'm so proud of her and her team. And I was busy at a meeting, I popped up on my phone, and then I see her face punching the ticket, and I'm like, oh my gosh, they did it. Like, I was so pumped. It's always fun for me to be able to see them move on and have success elsewhere. You know, I get bummed I don't get to be a part of it, but I just feel I do kind of feel a part of all the little stuff that they're doing. I just watched 2 former Pirates play in the GNAC championship, and I mean, against each other, so that was kind of awkward, but it's just fun to be able to see them just go off and live their dream and do special things, and she was a huge part of our success. With Lane, it's always going to be hard to beat Lane. I mean, he's got to be probably in the GOAT conversation if we're going to have that for women's basketball. You know, I think all the 3 coaches that we're up against in this Final Four are just legendary. So even if they had 10 losses this year, I would never not prepare my butt off to go against Lane. But, you know, they're undefeated, and they've already beat us once before. So it's going to be a challenge. And playing them, you know, a couple years ago, I already texted him. I said, hey, you know, if you take us down, can you just not have it be at the buzzer? You know, just have it be a different way. And he's like, if we're in the game, you know, because Greg, you know, Greg. So it's a healthy rivalry. I think we both have a lot of respect for each other's teams, and but we feel confident. You know, we were in with them the first time we played them, and you know, we feel like we have a great team, and yeah, they're tough, but so are we, and we've got to stop them, but they got to stop us, and that's what we've been talking about all week. So I think we're ready.
Shania, what a tremendous career you've had here over 2 years. And actually, part of this year you were injured and didn't even get to play for many of the games. And so thankful that you're back for the games that matter here at the end. Talk about your 2 years here at Peninsula and what a title here at the NWAC Championship would mean to you.
I mean, it means everything. And being here for the past 2 years, coming here was a surprise, but it definitely was a really good one. And I am really blessed to be playing right now, even though I wasn't playing for most of regular season, and I got to play for all of preseason. So going to the championship means everything to us. That's what we've been working towards since last year. We have our returning starting 5 from last year, just missing 1. But we've all been dialed in, and we're kind of locked into our goal, and it's always been something we've talked about since last year, getting eliminated in the Elite 8. So it's something that we've been looking forward to for a long time, and it's something that we really want.
Well, Coach Allison Rose and Shania Moananu, thanks so much for joining us. Great Peninsula Pirates here sitting with me, and best wishes this weekend.
Thank you.
Well, we're joined by the Lane Titans head coach Greg Sheely and Micah Wicks. Thanks for spending some time as we preview the Final Four. We'll start with you, Coach. Everyone knows the stats, the 800 wins, the 7 NWAC titles, now 9 30-win seasons. I wouldn't think you could have all that success without someone or someones along the line playing an influential role in your life. Can you talk about that?
Sure. I'd say that my father probably had the biggest influence on my career choice. He was a high school coach and athletic director. So I was brought up just around coaching and student athletes and all that. So that was fun. And then I've had a couple influential peers and mentors that have helped me along the way as well, and kind of kicked my butt early as a coach that definitely inspired me to want to achieve what they've achieved. And so I'd say that was probably the way it went.
Micah, wow, 44 wins in a row for this program, 31-0 this year, your sophomore season, the returning champions, the defending champs. I know it's a one-game-at-a-time season, especially now, but what would it mean to you and this program to bring home a three-peat, which hasn't happened for a very, very long time?
I mean, it would mean everything. That's what we've been working for coming into the program at Lane. I knew that we were going to put ourselves into a position to win titles because she's won so many. So we wanted to come in and put ourselves in the spot to win 4 in a row up here at Pasco, and so far we're doing it. So we're super excited to be back here this weekend.
Coach, a really good Final Four matchup on your side of the bracket. Peninsula, the team that has been the closest to you in point spread this year, just 5 points, and it was in overtime, a victory for you. When you look at the Pirates, do you look at that game way back earlier in the season, or do you focus more on what you and what they have done lately?
Both. We went back and watched that film, but we've definitely focused on their improvement lately, what they've been doing in their league, and then since we played them. I think they're much improved. They're physical. It's going to be one heck of a challenge for us.
Mike, a final question for you. When you were recruited by Coach Sheely, you obviously had to have known about the mystique and just the excellence of this program for years and years and years. Any pressure going into that commitment to Lane to keep this thing going, or was it looked at as more of a challenge for you?
It was a privilege to be recruited by Sheely and to, asked to step in as a player on Lane because, like you said, we have to uphold that kind of standard of winning. So I was super excited for the challenge, but I've been blessed to be a part of this team, and it's been exciting to continue to win.
Well, Coach Greg Sheely and Michael Wicks, thank you for spending some time today, and best wishes this weekend.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, we're here with the Umpqua River Hawks, Coach Dave Strickland and Brooklyn Feely. Another great season, and we'll start with you, Coach. Boy, so much drama last weekend in the fourth quarter, but you turned it on, and this young lady right here was one of the people who pulled you through it. What was the key to both of those fourth quarter comebacks last weekend?
Well, first of all, it was a lot more drama than we had wanted it to be. And yeah, I don't know that there was a key. We just stayed the course. We just kept playing, kept doing exactly what we set out to do. I think if there was one key, we shot really well in the third and fourth quarter. I mean, we're over 50% in both those games in the second half, and we just started to make more shots, and everything just seems a lot easier when the ball's going in the basket.
Brooklyn, two-time Southern Region MVP Player of the Year. Have you approached this season, any differently than last season, knowing that this is the final one here at Umpqua?
I've taken better care of my body, that's for sure. Getting more sleep, eating better. But yeah.
Dave, Final Four rematch of last year's game with Walla Walla. And not only did you beat them last year on this court, you've already defeated them twice this year. What was the key in those, and how do you continue that success over them?
Yeah, I don't know. Bobby and I have coached against each other probably for over 20 years. And, and I don't know what the overall win-loss record is, but we have battled. Every game is a battle. I don't like coaching against her. She's as good a coach as there is in the NWAC. They're always extremely well prepared. I think the first time we played them, it was close until it was like the games earlier this week. It was close until the last 5-6 minutes of the game, and the second time we played them, I think they were missing a couple players. I don't think they were at full strength, and so it wasn't quite the same game as it was the first time.
Brooklyn, I want to ask you, like I asked your coach a moment ago, about the fourth quarters of last week's game with Olympic and with Columbia Basin. You had something like 29 team points in one game and 34 or something like that in the second game. In your opinion, what was the key to turning it up a notch in the fourth periods?
I mean, I think the biggest thing is we stayed calm collectively. We had no other choice than to step it up, or else we were going to lose. So we just wanted to fight on, and so we would win. And we did that, and it worked out for us.
Well, it certainly did. It got you another trip to Pasco, and we're so glad you're here. And so Coach Dave Strickland and Brooklyn Feely, thank you for joining us, and best wishes this weekend.
Thanks,
Thank
Mike.
you.
Well, we're joined by Walla Walla Community College Warriors Coach Bobby Hazeltine and Brielle Magnuson. Thanks for joining me as we preview our women's Final Four here at the NWAC tournament. Coach Hazeltine, we'll start with you. Another Final Four for you, 2 in a row. You've been here several times, like really all of the coaches that you're going up against this weekend. What is the key to keeping a program at the high level that you and these other coaches have here for the Final Four?
I think we all have a lot of continuity, and we rely on our sophomores, such as Brielle and the other three I have, to show our freshmen what success is all about. And, you bring in half a new team every year, and it's a challenge for a while. And my kind of mantra is January and February is what matters. The preseason doesn't matter. We're trying to learn, get to know each other, things like that. And so the sophomores have to help me out with buy-in. We struggled with a little bit of that this year, as Brielle can attest to. But we get better as we go because of the continuity in the program. So if you have sophomores who believe in what you're doing, you've got a good chance to be successful, and that's what all four of us have in common.
Brielle, your club 73 points in the 2 games last weekend, including a record-setting 29 in your first-round game defensively, and you lead the league, the whole NWAC, in defensive in points allowed, and you have all year long. What is the key to team defense for the Warriors this year?
I think that's something we've just nailed all year. Every day we come to practice and we know we have to show up and work hard because defense is what is winning us games. And I think even in the beginning, we talked about how our offense just wasn't there yet. And over the season, it's come there. But we knew that every day we would just have to really dig deep with our defense. And I think that showed us, through the tournament, especially against Centralia, our first game, holding them to 29. That was so rewarding to us. But I'm just really proud of my teammates for showing up, and we're competitive every single day, and that's what our coaches want from us. And so I think that's helped us in the long run.
Coach, another matchup with Umpqua. You and Coach Strickland know each other very well. This, in all of the years that you guys have been coming to this tournament, this will be the 11th matchup within the tournament and a rematch of last year's semifinal game. You already played them twice this year as well. So what is it about these two teams always coming together, and what can be different this weekend than last year and earlier this year?
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the first things we talked about on Monday was we lost to them in this game last year. We lost to them early in the year last year. Lost to them twice this year by 8 and by 23. Most recently by 23. So obviously there has to be some changes. And I feel like we've identified where we've struggled. Again, it was December. Twice in December we've lost to them, and we're learning in December. And we had a lot of freshmen on this team. We have a lot of freshmen on this team. And so we're getting better. I think we're playing our best basketball right now. So we welcome this. I mean, you've got to play your best. You have to play the best, and that's what's going to happen. So we hope it's a different outcome, and I know we're going to play better.
Brielle, Umpqua really pedestrian in the first 3 quarters of both of their games last weekend, and then in the fourth quarter they just took over. Brooklyn Feely, Player of the Year in the South 2 times running, just took over. And so one of the keys for you and your club will be to not let her take over. How do you do that?
Yeah, so I have so much respect for Brooklyn. I've kind of actually, we've had kind of a relationship over the year. I know being far away is, you don't meet those teams. And so you're like, oh, how do you create a friendship? But every time we play each other, we're just there supporting one another. But in the end, I know she's a good player, and we know that she's going to be a tough assignment, but we just stick to what we've been preparing for all week. And Coach just, seems to never amaze me with, her preparation and how much film she watches. And so we just trust the coaches, and we go out and focus on our game plan, and we're just going to go out and execute.
All right. Well, Coach Bobby Hazeltine and Brielle Magnuson from Walla Walla, thanks for spending some time, and best wishes this weekend.
Thank you.